Hey guys, welcome back to Pleasant Prairie Farms. I'm Matt. So today I wanted to do a video on pig fencing, or really, well, I mean, we use it mostly for pigs. It works for cows too, depending on if you strengthened up a little bit in some areas. But anyways, point is, since basically man started keeping animals, pigs have been at the top of the list. They're, great, great foragers, great at eating all the scraps that nothing else will eat, and turning it into delicious bacon, which this is Kevin Bacon, by the way, the pig in front of you here, one of our up-and-coming males. But anyways, his pen is what we're going to talk about and show, but all the fencing on the farm here is basically one of two types of fencing. It's either a combination of hot wire and hog wire, like you can see here, or it's like over in the garden area, where it's just hot wire. And that's all you need for a pig, really, depending on how well it's trained and how well it's fed. So let's start with the combination of hot wire and hog wire. The combination we use here is a finer hog wire. Down at the bottom you'll see the sections get smaller as you go down, which is great for keeping in smaller pigs. Now this isn't going to keep in the tiniest of piglets. You're going to need something even tinier on the bottom if you want to keep in really tiny piglets, but for, wiener pigs, it usually works just fine, especially with the combination of the hot wire. So this basically is used as a barrier, because what we found is that with most commercial type pigs, the main breeds you're going to end up with, Yorkshires, Berkshires, the production pigs of today, they tend to be a little bit more pushy, a little bit more stubborn, and they'll just sometimes push right through a hot wire even though it's zapping them. And mostly when this happens is when they're not trained to a hot wire from being a piglet. And it can happen. And I mean, even once in a while you'll get a pig that grows up and is just a stubborn pig, and this hog wire on the outside keeps them from being able to push through. And you're not always going to have the hot wire on. There's power failures. Sometimes it's dry out and the hot wire isn't very strong, or there's any number of combinations of things that can happen and the hot wire goes off, and then the pig can't push out through this hog wire. They can usually dig under it, or if they really wanted to, they could go over it, but generally pigs don't want to do that, and it's basically just a safety thing there for when your hot wire's down. The main thing that does the work is the hot wire on the inside here. You can see we have one up off the ground a little bit. What this does is I put mine at about nose height, depending on your pig, or chest height. But generally a pig spends most of its time with its nose right on the ground, like you can see Kevin here doing, and the first thing they touch when they get up next to the fence is that hot wire. And as you can see, Kevin is staying back a good bit. They generally learn, and you watch them, with very few exceptions, they'll stay back a good 6 inches from that wire at any given time. They know it's there. So that's what that's about. The hot wire on the outside here you see we've put up for general use of keeping raccoons and coyotes and things out. Coyote can still jump the fence unless you have it really tall like we do over in the garden. Same thing with deer and stuff. But this is mostly to keep raccoons and things like that out. Just because I don't like raccoons being in there, especially with piglets and stuff. So that's that kind of fence. And this works great as permanent fence if you can afford it. This is what I would definitely say to go with if you've got the time to put it up, It doesn't have to be on wood posts. It can be on metal posts like you see on the inside there. It's a good option too. But point is, it's time consuming to put up, generally speaking, kind of a bugger. And even when you find it used on Craigslist and stuff like that, which is where I recommend you go to get that kind of thing, you're still going to be paying a pretty good amount of money for it. Generally getting it for 50 cents a foot or whatever used is a really good deal, but you're going to expect to pay for it. So I use it mostly on my permanent fencing pens and for really big pigs that I know can push out of the hot wire no problem. Now, where an easy pen to build comes in is when you just use the hot wire, like over in my garden area where I have the Heritage American Guinea Hogs. They're a little bit calmer of a pig. They won't push through the fence. They respect the hot wire really well. So in that case, if you have a pig that respects the hot wire and you see that respects the hot wire, you can just put up some T-posts and put up 1 or 2 strands of hot wire, one down low, one at chest height, and if you really want to be safe, one up higher, even that, so 3 strands, but usually 2 strands does it just fine. And that's what we use in the main field, is just a strand of hot wire for the bigger pigs and the collar pigs. And it works great for movable pens as well, because you can just, you know, pound a T-post in, hook on an insulator, and run your hot wire without any serious issues. And there you go. You have, you know, temporary pens, or you can move the pigs around in the pasture. What we found also, and this is a general rule across the board with all pigs, the more feed they have access to, the less belligerent they are, and the less likely they are to want to push out of their pen. So if you got them in a big old pasture with nothing but a single strand of hot wire on the bottom, there's a pretty good chance that they're never going to leave that pasture, or never even going to bother to try, because they have access to good food, they have access to water, they're perfectly happy to stay where they are. Where the trouble lies is when you have them in a small area and you're trying to keep them with just hot wire and they're hungry. And then they'll push right through it like it's not even there. They won't care about being zapped. I've had several pigs that, you know, even as babies, they just run right through the hot wire. Or some of them even get smart enough. I had one that my fence controller's right next to the fence where it was at, and it would listen to the clicks, and it would time it between the clicks, and it would run right through the hot wire. So they're really smart, and if you want to be 100% sure that your pig's not going to get out, definitely recommend the combo of hog wire and then hot wire on the inside. So that's how we do our pig fencing. There's lots of ways to do pig fencing, you know, but generally the two cheapest things to purchase for pig fencing is hot wire being the cheapest and easiest option to throw up, and then this hog wire. And you don't have to have very tall hog wire. I have pretty tall stuff on the outside here because that's what I bought, but you can go with the real short stuff, because again, it's just a barrier. It's just something they can see, that they can't run through it and push through it, and the hot wire on the inside is doing all the work. So you don't even have to purchase that tall of hot wire, of hog wire, if you don't want to, and save yourself some money. So anyways, I hope this was helpful for anyone, you know, thinking of getting into pigs and wondering what they need to do for fencing, and, you know, what's the cheapest way to go. So what I found, like I said, this is the cheapest method to go with for permanent fencing or for temporary. If you can get away with hot wire and you have a pig that's, you know, calm and well fed, go the hot wire route. It's super cheap to buy a roll of hot wire and some insulators, and it's super easy to pound in some T-posts. So that's what I'd recommend. And well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, hope it's helpful, and I hope to see you all back for the next video. Thanks. Bye.